Hey friends, it's Cam with Hope 2 Canine. How are you? We're just gonna wander outside. Some of you may remember, wow, when I walked into the screen that one morning and I posted a video saying I did that. My dearest friends remember and give me a hard time about it on a regular basis. So no official submitted questions today. I have a topic, so you get Cam's pick today. Come on in the room and we'll hang out for a few minutes and talk about the medical and nutrition component of behavior modification, because the systems are totally interconnected. You cannot separate them. So we cannot expect our dogs to perform optimally. We cannot. Hey, happy Friday. Thanks, Stephanie. Welcome, Patty. I'm glad you're here. Say hi if you guys are here so I can make sure that getting your comments consistently. Sometimes it's a little wonky at the start. But there's a significant relationship between what we put in the body of any species and how it performs, how it feels, how it thinks. There is so much information coming forward, lots of science around the gut biome and its impact on mental health, emotional well-being and stability, or not. And by the way, my apologies for being late. Even though I tend to fail to drink my coffee, when I do live streams, I had to have it anyway because I just ran 8 miles. So I felt like I deserved it, right? Put me in a really good space, feeling amazing. I don't mean to flaunt that. For those of you that are in places where it's impossible to go outside at all, I'm sorry. I really am. If I could share some of the incredible weather that I'm dealing with here in San Diego, I really, really, truly, I would ship it to you. I would. Because I live here because I can't live dealing with what you're dealing with. So come on in the room, guys. Let me know that you're here. And then I'm going to share a few minutes of, this is based on Bobby. So if you saw yesterday I posted about the boxer boy that I'm pulling from San Diego Humane Society, hopefully this afternoon. He should be having surgery right now, neuter surgery. I see some of my boxer people coming in the room. Victoria, what's up? So I should be pulling him this afternoon, and I'm very, very much looking forward to this case, even though when I take things like this on, I always know that they're going to be expensive and they're going to be time consuming. The dog in question needs a lot of help. He needs a lot of support in order to do this right. And we really bump up against this on the training side when we're working with you guys as private clients. When you hire us to train your dog behaviorally, there's a lot of data that we need to start infusing into you to understand this nutritional and medical piece of your dog's potential behavior issues. And, you know, frankly, it's unique to each dog as well, but there are also some very standard pieces of information that I think are important for you to have. And they do center around this gut biome component, the fact that, kibble is incomplete. It just absolutely does not do the job fully and completely for our dogs. It's a highly overprocessed food. It isn't living nutrition. And they are predatory animals in their natural state, and we've domesticated them, so things are different in many cases. The more of a working breed dog you have, the even more important this data is. If you like and want and have and own a working breed dog, your Malinois, your Shepherd, some of these livestock guardian dogs, things like that, they're even more connected to that root sort of primal, instinctual, feral, less domesticated, if you will. And oftentimes it's even more critical. They are less tolerant of crap, right? It's even more critical that you have this base knowledge and understanding of what is a species appropriate diet, that you have this sort of very basic foundational knowledge of what's lacking in the gut biome and in the realm of omega fatty acids, fresh and real living digestible minerals and vitamins. Then also probiotics like bacteria, right? Just the absence of bacteria. We're going to see a lot of problems for people moving forward because of this rampant, excessive use of hand sanitizers. We're going to have all these super bugs coming out of this season of our evolution with COVID. He's got a ball. And, masking up and avoiding each other and not getting the opportunity to get those bugs, get those healthy bacteria that are actually really important to building immunity. Dogs are the same way. When we keep them in such a sterile diet and sterile environment, and we don't allow them to get the bacteria that they naturally would have if they were ripping and tearing and chewing at a carcass that they, produced for themselves or found in the woods foraging, then they're lacking a lot of opportunity for that immune building dynamic that they require as well. And also the digestion is not as healthy. So we start to see issues of malabsorption. Now, again, just comment, guys, if you would, for me, or give me an emoji, something, because I only heard from Stephanie and I just want to make sure there isn't a glitch again in the comments. And I'll wait a second more before I go in and try to solve this on the laptop if I don't see anybody else comment. So with Bobby, the boxer, the point of my, fix it narrative today, Bobby is severely underweight. Thank you for the heart. Appreciate whoever that was. Bobby is severely underweight. He's pretty emaciated. Maybe Laszlo will cooperate and take his ball down below. Thanks, Carrie Ann. Thanks, Brittany. I appreciate that. That is helpful. So I won't worry about, buddy, take it down below. Won't worry about having to go inside and get my laptop. It's too nice, you guys. It's too nice. Cover your ears, Texas. Okay, so with Bobby, he's extremely emaciated, and he has always been. They called him the runt of the litter. The paperwork that was submit to, hey Meredith and Carmen, the paperwork that was turned in with him to the shelter, the dog's a year old, they call him the runt of a litter that they got from a friend of the family. He's never been to the vet at all. And he can't put weight on, and they don't know why. And among other things, they tried cereal. So this dog has just not had what he needed systemically to thrive. And then it's not a shocker that he's anxious, fearful, insecure, reactive, very afraid of new people. Okay? Thank the Lord above for this pup. The angels were looking over him because he was raised with kids and cats and dogs, and he's got a lot going for him as a result. He has a lot of potential if we can help him out to have some basic life skills and be able to be strong and healthy and thriving physically. The training will empower him to be able to navigate the world, even if it's overwhelming and scary for him at times. And of course, we'll find the right person that appreciates and understands what he's dealing with and what he needs from an advocacy standpoint. And he'll be able to be successful. But the health thing is the big, question mark. So when I get a case like this, guys, here's what I do. I want to know the condition of the digestive system. I want to know if that dog has maybe a malabsorption issue. It's a blood test that we can do. And then I also want to send a fecal sample into Animal Biome. That's my boxer, by the way, with a ball playing with himself down below. I forgot that ball was out here. So welcome in if you guys are joining late. I'm just talking about Bobby, the boxer, who's coming into our rescue program because he's specifically in, the nonprofit side of our work, but this is very applicable to any of you who are dealing with especially fearful, anxious, or very nervy, reactive, aggressive dogs. You've got to start from the inside out. You have to start from the inside out, and you have to know that when you work with us, we're going to be looking at your dog that way. We're going to be coaching you on how to resolve things for your dog from that standpoint. Oh, it's so good. I'm so glad I made that. So I want a malabsorption test. I want to see if that animal is actually digesting and processing the food normally, because we don't want to make a diet change arbitrarily if we don't know, is the dog, if the dog just can't absorb nutrition. Maybe it needs vitamin B, maybe it needs vitamin D, maybe it needs something to kick that along and help things out. Maybe it needs enzymes, probiotics. Chances are it's going to be all of the above on some level, because all of those things that were not done for him, as I mentioned, required that the system, Humane Society, have to do it all at once. So not only do we have a fragile dog already, and a dog that's struggling very much to be healthy and vibrant, and therefore doesn't feel well, doesn't perform optimally, but then he just got really hard hit with all of those vaccines, the neuter surgery, of course, metronidazole, and what else did they give him? They gave him a whole, cocktail that's pretty common for Giardia, because he was positive for Giardia. And by the way, Giardia could be the culprit for why this dog is so underweight. He might have had a chronic battle with Giardia. So we're going to have to retest the fecal again, because it's possible to treat for Giardia and still not get rid of it the first time. It can take quite a while to get rid of it, especially if it's been a chronic thing for this dog. And we're going to want to put him immediately on, for crying in the mud, I just had a blank. I'm going to grab the bottle for you, because this is the point of this live. Let me grab the bottle for you. Laszlo, you're a speed bump right in the way. We are going to need more of this, but we are going to want to put him, on Oregon grapefruit, okay? It'll be a tincture. You can get Oregon grape on Amazon. You can find it a lot of places. And it is amazing for dealing with Giardia. It's like nature's antibiotic. So without all of the, additional extra horrid side effects, okay? Hey guys, I can't see any comments, so I don't know if they're coming in, but since you had them before, I'm going to just trust you're not talking to me or just listening. Any hoodle to get the sun off the back. So we'll put him on Oregon grape, and we'll do 12 or 14 days of that, just to be sure that we've helped the system with kicking the Giardia component, while we let him decompress, because we don't want to go straight into a whole nother new vet, which we will work with our holistic vets for this reason. We don't want to put him through all of these tests and things immediately. We need to make sure that he has time to recover from the neuter surgery and decompress in a new space. But, as a result, what I generally will do, if possible, is I'll start on a cooked food in order to make sure that we're giving something that is more nutritious than what the dog has been on with the kibble diet, especially if they've been on prescription diets. And we want to, clean out the system. So we want to know what the dog is eating is really simple and clean. And we want to be able to eliminate a whole lot of potential factors that could be irritating to that dog's system, and get, real, live, good minerals, vitamins, probiotics, etc., going in there to compensate for the fact that it's very hard hitting on the system to have been under anesthesia for surgery, to have had all of the antibiotics and treatments that he's had for what he showed up and presented with. And he will have a vaccine detox, which is going to be a homeopathic, it's again just a dropper, a liquid that goes in the dog's mouth about 10 minutes before they eat. And that vaccine detox can be done potentially for 5 or 7 days or longer, depending on what you're detoxing and why, right? Hopefully this is helpful for some of you, because, there's a lot of folks in this community that are involved in rescue, a lot of folks in this community that end up with stray dogs that they pick up. We're very close to the border here, Mexican border, so a lot of Mexicali stray dogs that come up, dogs that have had parvo. I would look at them all like this. Any dog that comes into a rescue or a shelter situation that has no known history gets pumped full of stuff, and it's just because there is a standard protocol that is the most cost effective that exists, that is executed on when an animal enters the system like that. And it doesn't take into consideration state of health. It doesn't involve titer testing to see if the dog has the immunities that it needs before injecting it with vaccines. It doesn't involve looking at, the gut biome and how that dog's digestion is looking, or what kind of bacteria it contains and where it's weak and needs support. That's what animal biome results will tell you. It will tell you the quality of bacteria in your dog's system, and can help influence whether or not you need to consider a malabsorption issue as well. There's just not much taken into consideration because it's not cost effective. So when a dog gets into a program like ours, and our approach is so multifaceted and very much about the holistic, we want to treat that animal from the inside out. We want to know the state of health before we make assumptions about what we can do to improve it, or what the dog can stand systemically in terms of stress. Are these the things I should be doing also to possibly get Charlie back on raw? They would be pieces of information. If you worked with Dr. Drum at Animal Healing Center, probably would be the approach, would be the animal biome test, which you can do for yourself. I took a picture actually, but it's on this phone. Took a picture of the box the other day so that I would have it handy for clients, because I was just talking to some new clients that have a lab that's going to train with us about this test. So you can order the animal biome test yourself. It's just a tiny little fecal sample. You put it in a vial, mail it back in, and you'll get your results within a few weeks. Having that information before going in to work with a nutritional specialist like Dr. Drum would be really advantageous. And she's going to be able to do a lot more for you in terms of consulting on whether a raw diet lines up for him long term, because it might not. It doesn't for this boxer of mine. Every other one before him has thrived on raw. This one has to have a cooked food diet. Just how it's shaked out. I don't know if that'll ever change, but he's 2.5. And I don't expect to ever put him on raw again. I just don't, based on the fact that he has so many allergy issues. And he's just kind of chronically inflamed. Pain in the ass, man, this breed. And that's the other piece of it, guys, right? Like, sometimes when we're looking at cases like this, we have to keep in mind there's probably going to be some limitations, period. No matter what we do, we're always going to potentially be up against the genetics, and that so many of these breeds have chronic challenges with health issues because of overbreeding or poor breeding. And that is an important thing to take into consideration, especially when it comes to, animal welfare rescue work, right? Because you can really go down into a pit of effort and cost. And, you've got to be taken into consideration. It's a good dog for us to invest in. Like I said previously, we're discussing a case that is good with kids and cats and dogs, is fearful of new people. I was with him day before yesterday. He never growled or barked at me once. He was definitely showing me he was unsure and nervous, but never growled at me once. I mean, this is a dog with options and potential, but he's so overloaded right now. And when you have taken on all of that toxicity, all those chemicals, all that poison in such a short amount of time, it's not helping. It is absolutely not helping. So I anticipate this guy looking markedly better in a short period of time, but also being a long haul overhaul. So what else was I going to tell you? Oh, if you're an organization and you need like the bare minimum of what I would always start with, no matter what, get a probiotic on board. For the vast majority of you with nonprofits and you're fostering and you're trying to adopt out dogs, at least get a probiotic in there, and then get your fosters serving fresh food on the kibble. Do not have kibble only, always and forever, with nothing to supplement it. We know, studies have shown 70, 80, 90% reduction in cancer rates when you add fresh food to kibble 3 days a week. It's not difficult. It's what you're making for yourself, right? So if you make meats and veggies, chop it up and slide some into their bowl and pull some of the kibble out to compensate for that. You have to add fresh food to kibble. It's just not complete. You know, you can be cracking a raw egg on there. Most dogs absolutely love that. Some will eat the shell, some won't. There's some calcium, there's some minerals in there that are great. You know, sardines in water, great source of omegas. You can open a can and plop a fish on there. If you've got multiple dogs, split the can, you're done. You don't even have to store stinky leftovers in your fridge. Add these things a few days a week because, you know, your dogs are not meant to live on the same brown, crunchy ball for their entire life, always and forever, with no variety and no, you know, no change. It's just not how they're designed. Look at it. Look at a coyote. Look at a wolf, right? Yes, we've domesticated these dogs. Yes, some of them do not thrive or have an easy time with certain foods that they should. Not every dog is exactly the same. You have to be persistent and open and explore and try things in order to get information about yours, okay? But in this dynamic, you know, obviously probiotics, fresh foods. For this particular dog, we're going to put him on probably a cooked meal plan in order to give him the best chance at bulking up and cleaning out and boosting that immune system, getting the weight on. He's really, really too skinny. Helping him recover and detox. And we're going to do those tests that I mentioned to take a look at how is his gut actually functioning? Is he even absorbing nutrition like a normal dog should? Where is he deficient? Is it a bacterial component? And then we'll do the organ grape. So organ grape is just awesome, like I said, for Giardia stuff. And I just had a chat the other day. Colloidal silver would be another great thing as well that I'll add into this process. So we'll see what we get, but we're so grateful for everybody that's involved in our community supporting and you know, donating for Bobby, because obviously these things cost money. And if they're not done, you can have a dog that is just chronically deteriorating and isn't in a good space to learn and be trained. You know, what's the point? If the dog doesn't feel well, then it's really unfair for us to ask certain things of it and expect certain things of it and have it continually go through stress and transition and not have more consequences from that. It's very important that we get this dog as healthy as possible as a part of our rescue process in order to move him on to success long-term in an adoptive situation. So it takes a village sometimes in order to do that, and these are just not things that you're going to see offered and available and considered in the system when the dog's typically, you know, with a humane society or something like that. They just can't do it. It's why it's so helpful when you empower small organizations like ours that have sort of the niche to take the time and really break this down and take it apart. There are dogs like Bobby that really, really, really need it. And if it's a, you know, situation where you resonate with these challenges in a dog that you yourself own or, you know, are dealing with, where especially fear cases, anxiety, a lot of that stuff started very early with the dog, both from temperament and disposition and gut. I can't tell you how many times we see it begin on top of a vaccine or a vaccine in a fear period. When you start layering some of these things, think about how reasonable it is that that puppy would have been edgy and uncomfortable and nervous and fearful, and then start developing irrational beliefs, right? A lot of these fear cases, severe anxiety, you know, that just edgy, reactive, aggressive, like Nala, are dogs that if you talk to the owner, they did everything right. They did everything right in vaccine protocols. They, you know, fed the dog what the vet or the breeder recommended. They did flea and heartworm preventatives. Like they did everything right according to the system that is not designed to meet a dog's biologically and species appropriate needs, especially not certain breeds, and that doesn't take into consideration the individual dog and where they're coming from and their state of health. By the way, guys, I would encourage every single one of you to think this way about yourself, your own health. All right? Your own health. Because I have so much of this knowledge or just confidence to pursue it and navigate it and ask the questions that have benefited these dogs over the years based on my own process and journey of navigating autoimmune disease. And I know a lot of you have already heard my story over time. I've shared lots of different pieces of it, but just for anyone who's brand new, it's really crucial that you look at, as I said, that you look at the gut, that you look at diet, what you're putting in, and how much of, a chronic treatment of something from a Western medicine standpoint might require detoxing in order for you to make gains. These are some key components to what it took for me to get off of a lot of prescription drugs from rheumatology, and on with a life that is so much more empowering and comfortable and healthy and safe and functional, right? So a lot of this information comes from personal experience on the human end of the leash, and then starting to really think about it critically with regard to canines. The other thing that we need to make sure of too, in cases like this with Bobby, is from a dental standpoint. If the dog is malnourished or it's a neglect case. Sometimes there are dental issues that can start really early on, even though he's only a year old. So we want to keep that in mind also. If the dog's in pain, if there's decay or other issues there, we need to make sure we take a close look at the dental conditions, because that can also be a factor there. For it's a direct route to the bloodstream rather. It's very possible that we can have infections and other pain sources that are related there. And I think that's kind of it for what I wanted to share with you guys today. But just to give you a little bit of insight on how we're going to approach that case, why, we really appreciate support and being able to do this, because we feel that it's the right way to do it when it comes to rescuing a dog like this, and not just, bumping him along through with another stressful transition into a home where there isn't education and support and empowerment around what it will take to help him long term to be healthy. And when he goes into an adoptive home, at least we'll have a lot more information about what his strengths and weaknesses are systemically, not just behaviorally, and what they need to expect in terms of diet and continued investment in his overall health picture. You know what I mean? Because this is the point of why we do what we do. If you had adopted a dog like this from a shelter, and all of a sudden, you're $2,000 in the hole from just investigative testing and trying to nail down a diet, that can be really risky for the dog to be able to stay put. A lot of times those dogs get bounced, they get returned, and it's exactly why he was surrendered. There was not financial means to figure out what's going on with him physically, okay? So we're able to step in and do that as a tribe, and you get to be a part of that, which is pretty cool. Any questions on this, feel free to drop them here, but I just never really like talking to myself and not interacting with you guys, and I'm just feeling like I'm talking to myself today. So I know it's busy, thinking of everyone who is freezing cold and uncomfortable anywhere in the world, and I'm so sorry, and I wish I could fix it for you. Dog related issue, we fix that at least. Feel free to hit us up if you have questions for future Fix It Fridays. I'm actually off next week, so I will not see you next Friday. I'm taking the whole week off next week, and I'm going to run away. And if you email us your questions, I'll pick back up the first or second week of March and get back in here with you. If you're in the Raising a Rockstar group, my puppy peeps, I'm going to be popping in there and talking about submissive peeing and what to do if you have a piddly puppy. So I'll be in with you guys later. Thank you, Stephanie. I'll be in with you guys just in a little bit here in the Raising a Rockstar group, and share a little bit of added content to one of our units. And then you can always ask me questions and post in there. If you think of something that you would like addressed sooner than a Fix It, you always can do that there. All right? Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Laszlo says, thank you so much. Laz, they're helping with Bobby the boxer. Here you go. You can get a little, you can get a little Laszlo love.
There it is. There it is. Little Laszlo love for you all. All right, guys. Have a wonderful day, okay? I'll talk to you soon.